Chapter 13, Operation Warp Speed and President Trump. On May 25, 1961, President Kennedy proposed to Congress that the United States should put a man on the moon before the end of the decade and bring him safely back to Earth. 58% of Americans disagreed and opposed to the idea. His goal was realized in 1969, but he was not alive to see it. Yet, most of the experts today credit him for making such a brave proposal that came to fruition on time. President Trump's proposal to produce a COVID-19 vaccine before the end of 2020 was even more challenging and urgent because it aimed to save human lives. His goal was achieved before the end of the year. However, I have yet to see any experts giving him credit for that. Times have changed, and this kind of polarization is not good for humanity. President Trump was heavily criticized for promoting hydroxychloroquine as a potential mitigation of COVID-19 in the early months of 2020. He was accused of wasting federal funds on a drug deemed dangerous and ineffective, risking the lives of ordinary people by highlighting supposed benefits while allegedly downplaying its side effects. The details are shocking. Hydroxychloroquine was developed in 1946 to replace chloroquine in the treatment of malaria due to its greater safety. Both drugs had potential retinal toxicity, which was managed by adjusting the doses and close supervision. Hydroxychloroquine has been used for treating malaria, systemic lupus, erythematosus, rheumatoid arthritis, and even explored for cancers, including the dangerous brain malignancy called glioblastoma. Chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine were found to have properties against bacterial, fungal, protozoal, and viral infections. During the 60 years of their clinical use, chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine were not considered dangerous. In the early stages of COVID-19 pandemic, there were no effective vaccines or remedial measures. Under these circumstances, Wang concluded from their in vitro studies that chloroquine inhibited the SARS-CoV-2 virus, the virus responsible for COVID-19. Other in vitro and quasi-clinical studies supported the use of chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine for the treatment of COVID-19. Based on these studies, Tripathy concluded that currently available scientific reports from several clinical trials suggest that the age-old anti-malarial drugs, chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, could be potent therapeutic agents against COVID-19. Clinicians worldwide panicked to acquire these medicines, and as keen businessmen, President Trump secured large amounts of them before others could. Unfortunately, the SARS-CoV-2 virus outsmarted clinicians, politicians, and the business world by mutating into different forms. To understand this, a basic idea of the pathophysiology of COVID-19 is required.